Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Forex Weekly. It was a very good week last week with lots of good trading setups. And again, keep an eye on this one. There's going to be some really good moves. So if that sounds good to you, you trade yourself, you look out for investments, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Stay up to date with my channel. There's been some real good successes lately. So again, keep track of what's going on over here. Quick shout out to the Absolutely magazine. Thanks for everything. Thanks for the sponsorship. I'm looking forward to working further with you guys. Let's get straight into the charts. And with that, I'm going to look at the fundamentals for the week to see what time we can really look at pulling the trigger. So with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, guys, so like every trader should do on a Sunday, just check the news. You can do that on myfxbook.com. And I like to just look at what's going to possibly charge something throughout the week. So looking at Tuesday now, the things that stand out for me is the 7 a.m. for the pound here with a claimant count change, the unemployment rate. I'm not expecting too much impact, but again, it's just before the London session on Tuesday morning. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. The thing that stands out for me on Tuesday is the President Lagarde's speech for the Euro at 3 o'clock. So an hour before the London close. I'll be looking at what mark gets left there for possibly Wednesday morning, what they're going to interact with, and then there'll be the trade that takes off there. So I'll be watching what happens, how they close that day, and then of course we'll see the next day. Wednesday, not much. The CPI for the pound will probably be the main thing that day. There's the consumer price index as well for the Canadian dollar. Thursday, the unemployment rate for the Australian dollar, that comes at 2:30 in the morning. So again, it might be a late one there. Probably the most standout thing again that day is the 1 o'clock Lagarde speech. Whenever this woman speaks, the euro seems to be manipulated. So we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, we've got the New Zealand dollars budget release as well. So that's going to be something to look out for on the AUD NZD that day on the Thursday. Friday, pretty dead. Nothing really standing out. Just basic news. So some interesting days to look out for. I think Thursday is going to be the main one that gets impacted with the fundamentals. So just keep an eye on them currencies and the times that I'm mentioning. If you can see a move around them times, it will just fuel everything for you. So keep an eye on that. That's the fundamentals. Okay, guys, I'm going to start on the pound USD. I'm going to kind of bring you the whole picture here. Now, what I'm looking at here on the higher time frame is the monthly, and what we are is in a selling area. There's a potential for price to drop over whatever's happened here back in 2018. We're now 3 years later, back in this area. Let's see if we're going to get the long-term drop again. So if I just come down the time frame, you'll see how the picture becomes a bit clearer. What I'm looking at, first of all, is this daily swing. So this is the daily move down. It's been in between this range for a little while now. It has remained bullish. I am aware of that, and I am keeping that in mind when looking at this area, which means it can blow this area out just by the fact that it's stayed bullish. But I'm looking at this. I like the way it's reacted off the 41,500, and it's now obviously finished the week just below it. So if I come down to the 4 hour now, I'm just looking at this area again for a potential push. It may come a bit higher towards the 142. I'm keeping that in mind as well. So there will be a lot of patience applied with this trade. If I just come down to the hour and give you my last point of interest, this was the Friday around 1 o'clock. So something has happened in this area to manipulate the market. So it's been shot up, it's shot down. I want to see what's going to happen when we get priced right around that 141,300 mark. So 141,300, 141,500, they're going to be my point of calls for this week. They're going to be where I look to take the sell positions. If it starts to go towards 142, if them areas get blown out, that's fine. I'll be looking at 142. But regarding the higher time frame, 142 really will be the last point of call before this swing has been blown out. And then I'll be obviously thinking this is going to be bullish, looking at riding the buy higher. So again, just keep an eye on that one. That's the pound USD. Okay, guys, so very similar to what I just showed you is now going to be the Euro USD. So again, if pound USD does the move, this will tend to follow. Not always, but on the weekly here, just looking at this area, again, we've got this swing down. This is going to be my last point of call around the 122,700 to the 123 area. That's where I'm looking to take the entry, and then hopefully we're going to get a bigger push to the downside. I'm going to at least target the 113 area around here. So that's where I believe it's going to be a big move. If I just come down to the daily, it starts to look a bit clearer. And I've got kind of two areas that I'm looking at. So the first one is this area here off the 122 level. Let's call it that. This is the candle that I'm looking at. It's reacted nicely. It's had a drop, but it's now pushing back up. So I believe it will blow this area out. It will go higher than this candle, which will then take me to what I believe we're going to trade this week. It's the 122.700 to the 123.100, somewhere in there. I'm looking to catch price for the sell. So again, like I say, ride down for that longer target. This area here has been, it's been quite a while ago now. So if I just look back, if I move my camera out the way, this was the around January, so the start of the year. Okay, so we're now halfway through the year. It's coming back towards this area. So let's just keep an eye on that one. Very similar to the pound USD. It's the Euro USD. Okay, guys, next up is the Euro Pound, which was one of my main focuses last week. So congratulations to the students that caught this trade that are riding it with me. I've got positions still in here. If I just come down to the 4 hour, what I'm looking at now this week is a re-entry. So I believe we're going to start the week with the euro getting strong. Then maybe we're going to start to see the pound get stronger around Tuesday morning with that London Open. So what I'm looking at, we've had our move from the 87 level. It's finally gone down. We've made a new low. Good trade. I believe we're going to get a pullback now. Now, what you can see here is a lot of imbalanced area on the 4 hour. What I'm looking for is my scenario for my students that know. So if I then just come down to the 2 hour, I still can't see nothing. I still can't see any blue candles in here. It's just a bearish control at the moment. If I then get down to the hour, you will see there's a candle here around the 86,300 mark. And there's another one around the 86,600 mark. I feel like it's kind of played off of this one on Friday, which it did around the 86,300 and had a little drop. I don't believe that was it. So I believe it's going to come a bit higher now towards the 86,600. And that's where we might get price dropping again. So keep an eye on that one around Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, maybe even towards the London close around Tuesday 4 p.m. I believe we're going to start getting a push again from this area. So again, just keep an eye on that level 86,600. That's the euro pound. Okay, guys, next up is gold, and things have got a bit simpler now. So this is again from this swing, the last point of call before I'll write off the sell. I'll forget looking at it. What I want to mention last week is what happened. There was a sell. I mentioned a sell on the morning call with my students around the 1843 level. It dropped perfectly. And then towards the later part of the week, just came back and closed at the very same level. So something dodgy is definitely going on at 1843. I can feel that they've placed some transactions there. However, I feel this area is now about to get obliterated. So it's either going to fly up higher. That will write us off, write the trade off. Possibly, if I just come down to a 4 hour, we might get another sell in this area. I'm kind of staying away from this one. I'm not going to actually aim to trade it. Let's get this in a different area. Let's see where it goes. See something that looks a bit more clearer. At the moment, to me, there's nothing that stands out. Yes, it could be another sell again around this 1843 level, but it's already done it. And of course, I know from Friday, I was talking to one of my students. We was looking at it, thinking about placing a sell position there. But I just said, no, I feel like there's too many people that are doing it. And of course, price has risen higher, wiping them traders out. So let this area go. Let's see what happens. If you are in the sell for 1843 and you're still in it, let it go, hold it. But again, just be aware. I believe this is about to take off and really grab some liquidity, maybe on both sides. But again, I'd rather be out the way than be in something that I'm not comfortable with. That's gold. That's my opinion on gold for this week. Okay, guys, next up is Bitcoin. And we had a good move last week, just below the 60,000 mark. I did call the 60,000 mark. It went from around 59,722. So again, excited to announce that my methods are working well with Bitcoin. I've been, practicing this recently, just back testing, seeing how it all works. And I've got another entry this week. So just looking at, again, this is similar to the euro pound thing with the imbalance. I want to see price pull back up towards the 5,400 mark. And again, you can't see why at the moment. But if I just come down to a 2 hour, I've got a reason there with that blue candle. And on the 1 hour, again, it just looks a bit clearer. You can see what actually happened there, and then it shot down. So again, keep an eye on that 54 level. I'm saying 54 because it's slightly lower than my area. So in case it does go slightly lower and goes again, we'll be able to catch that. So the 54 level for the sell on Bitcoin. There was some bad news recently. I believe it was the Elon Musk guy said something about Bitcoin, and as you can now see, if I just go to a higher time frame, it's kind of stuck in this area below the 60,000. So I believe it is going to have a drop from here, and then at a later date will continue to make newer highs. But at the moment, this is what I believe Bitcoin's bias is going to be for the next couple of weeks. It looks like it's going to ride back down towards the 40,000 mark. So again, just keep an eye on that. Okay, guys, so just a quick update on the UK 100. Not much has changed. We've had that nice drop. Didn't come from the area that I wanted it to, but it's just below. So we've had the nice drop. One of my students was actually able to catch this buy riding up, because I believe if we just go to the weekly time frame, I believe it's still got to come and interact with this area in the red level. So it's still got there's quite a bit of way to go yet. 7400 is going to be the area that we're looking to pull the trigger for the sell. So I have a strong feeling it's going to get there this week. So just keep an eye on that one. This is going to have a lot to do with the UK's economy. I think we're announcing our unemployment rate. So again, I'll be just using them things that I mentioned at the start of the video to see when will be the best time to pull the trigger on this. That's the UK 100. For the students that are riding that buy up, just be aware, have your take profit around the 7400 mark. That's what I would do. We may get the spin at that level. UK 100. Okay, guys, this is just a quick timeout from the video, from the charts, to remind you about my Capital A Mentorship Program. So this is for you. If you're watching this and want to learn more for yourself, want to learn how to make smart investments for you, then reach out to me for the program. A couple of things you're going to learn is how the financial institutions enter the market, a very vital thing that you need to know, how to create a trading plan, so actually how to attack your week and plan it properly, how to place your own trades on your own phone, of course, how to trade your edge over the market. So what I'm going to teach you is what I learn, how to spot it, and how to only trade that one thing that happens. And it happens sometimes 3 times a week. Risk management, okay, in protecting your capital, that's an important part of trading. And of course, how to use TradingView, how I do, just analyzing the charts properly. And with that, with me, 3 to 4 hours of mentoring lessons per week, access to my trading community, early access to these market outlooks that come every Sunday and Thursday, sometimes Wednesday, homework setting and monthly tests. So I'll be just keeping track of how you're learning, making sure that you're understanding it. And of course, you'll have access to 10 hours of pre-recorded educational videos from me as well, access to my live trades, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week mentoring support for a cheap price in this industry of $599 for me to mentor you. So if that sounds good to you, reach out to me via email at capitalatrading@hotmail.com. Again, that's capitalatrading@hotmail.com. Thanks. Let's get back into it. Okay, guys, so with that segment out the way now, that has kind of been like my main focuses. These are just some trades now that I might not actually trade, but I'm bringing the ideas to you. So the Euro AUD, again, this is an area that I've mentioned recently. I like the way it's going to hold up in this area. If I just show you on the daily what I'm looking at, this is the level where I believe it's just going to keep dropping from. And again, we've got the same pattern. We've shot up, it's rejected, and it looks like it's now going to take off. If I just then come to that 4 hour, what I would suggest to you, if you're trying to trade this area, try to get a position as close to the 156,500 as possible, as you know, the high point of where my red box is. And I think you'll be comfortable there to ride the sell down, at least down to the 154 mark for a new low. I'm actually going to show you a trade that I'm in now, which is the pound Aussie. If I just come up to the daily, this level played off perfectly for me on Friday, on Thursday, Friday. It looked good. I liked it. It was around the 182 level. If I just come down to a 4 hour, you'll see how it's kind of played off of this area perfectly. So that was the candle that I was looking at, that black candle there. I've marked it out. I've put a line on the base, a line on the waist, and it's rejected nicely and it's starting to move. I'm starting to see some profits on the trade that I'm in. Looking at this now, I believe we're going to get a little retest. We may just get a little retest up towards the 181,500, 181,600. I'm aware of that, and so should you be. I believe, again, like the Euro AUD, we're going to get a drop on this. Now, remember, there's a lot of news coming out with the AUD and the NZD around the middle of the week. So again, I think there's something happening at 2 a.m. for the Australian dollar as well. So again, keep an eye on that time. That may be when this really starts to fuel. So again, just keep an eye on them two together. That's the Euro AUD and the pound AUD. Yes, I would recommend it if you're going to take action on one of them, you might as well take action on the other one. They tend to move together, as you can see. Euro AUD, pound AUD. Okay, guys, so this is a quick update on the pound CAD. Recently, I had a very good trade on this, around 500 pips. As you can see, the big drop to the downside, rode the whole of that. So just looking at this now, thinking about where's going to be the next areas of attack. So if I just come onto this daily, I mentioned that there's going to be a buy push from this area. It looks like it's coming. As you can see, this level has had previous buy pushes before. So just to try and trade that this week early on, I'm going to be looking at the 170 level. Yeah, it's only 50 pips away. This is the candle that I'm looking at. I believe maybe 169,500, somewhere there we can get the buy push. That's not what I'm really aiming to trade, but that's the way I believe the market's going to start heading for the start of the week. What I'm aiming to do is catch a sell on the retracement. So we've had the big push down. That was the swing. I've measured it. I like what's been left around the 62%. And of course, we can now build this up. We've got the 173 level with the key number there. And I like this piece of price action here that happened on the 26th of April around the London session. It looks like one of my favorite scenarios. It could maybe even be the 173,500 level. So if I'm right, we're going to be looking at the pound starting strong, getting that push. And then with the CAD, there's some news on the CAD as well. So I'll be kind of trying to synchronize it with that. If this is sitting there around that time, it will just kind of boost my confidence. So again, my main overall focus for this will be to look out for the sell around the 173 level. That's around 300 pips up. So if you want to ride the buy up, if it looks good, I'm not saying don't do that either. So again, just keep an eye. There's a few options there. That's the pound CAD. Okay, guys, mentioned this in the last week's videos. It's actually playing out quite perfectly. So the first one I'm going to go for is the pound NZD. I'm still waiting on that buy around the 191 level. So we're going to remain patient for that area to get interacted with. What I was mentioning, if I just come down to the 4 hour, was this sell area around the 196 level. It's pushed brilliantly. We've had a good move down. It's come down nearly 200 pips already. I still believe it's going to come to the 91. But just looking at this piece of price action now, I wanted to see the pound get stronger against the CAD. So hopefully if that starts well and we get the pound starting the week strong, I'm looking at this 195,500 area as the retest where we could then hopefully continue with that ride down. So hopefully the bus comes back, picks us up, and then we can jump on as well. Very similar with the EURNZD. Same thing, same picture, but I believe it's come and played off that 169 level. You can see how it's just touched into that candle, had the drop. That looks like it's coming down now, and very similar. Look for the retest. Look to see the euro get strong at the start of the week. Possible sell entry around the 168, 200 level off of this scenario here to then continue riding down towards the 166. So that's my Euro NZD and pound NZD analysis. Keep an eye on them both. And again, if you're going to take action on one, you might as well do it on the other. Okay, guys, next up on my radar is the pound Swiss. As you can see, it's had a perfect drop from this area. Again, my scenario, we've got the imbalance. We've got everything we want to see over here. It's had a nice drop. It's also, if I just zoom in now over here on the daily, it's broken a structure. So this was very bullish, rising higher, rising higher. Then all of a sudden, we've got a lot of bearish involvement. It looks like there's been some money pumped on the sell side, somewhere in this area, around the 129, 130. So if I just break it down a bit more, what I'm looking for, I'm going to watch this candle here. It looks fishy to me. I like the way it's grabbed the liquidity. It's done a lot. So that's basically going to be around the 127, 800, 128. So like I said, I want to see that pound start the week strong. If it gets to there, Tuesday morning, maybe with a London Open, I'll have a look at seeing that being a big sell from there. However, the swing, this is what I really want to see. So again, I'm just going to be monitoring that. I'll be taking that information with a pinch of salt. The 128,500 to the let's say 128,750. I'm looking at this scenario here. It's just below the 62%. That's going to be my main point of call for the week on this. I want to see when it gets there, and I'll be looking to take a sell position there. If it does obliterate this area and keep going higher, then I believe what the main move is going to be is the big sell from the 130 mark. I feel like something's been placed there. Again, you can see this. There's been a lot of bearish involvement. That's a lot of money's been pumped in on the sell side of the market. So again, let this one come to you. It's got a lot of higher prices to actually reach first, and then pull your trigger around the time. Of course, execution around a London session would be advised. That's the pound Swiss. Okay, guys, next up, EUROJPY. I just want to kind of invalidate a move now. I mentioned a buy around this area, around the 129, 350. It went just above and then it's gone. I'm going to now write that trade off. We're not waiting on that buy area no more. If I then just come to a higher time frame, what you'll notice, I believe this is heading towards a key selling areas. So I'm just going to let it come a bit higher. I think maybe 134, 136, we're going to start to see a big push down. And it's very similar with the pound yen. I know a few of my students actually trade that, so bear with me. This is what looks better for me. So forget the euro yen for a minute. Let that one slide. The pound yen, I'm just looking at this area around the 155 level. Is it going to struggle? Is it going to continue dropping? It's been quite bullish for a while now. So about the start of the year, or around March, it's been rising. So I believe that's going to stop soon. It's just when. So again, keep an eye on the 155 level with the pound yen. Let the euro yen kind of go. It's kind of got a bit more room to go higher. Okay, guys, next up, NZDUSD. These are a couple of moves, AUDUSD I'm going to mention as well. These are a couple of moves that I've mentioned recently, and I kind of want to just revise what I'm thinking now. I still believe the move is going to be around them areas, 74 for the NZDUSD. But what I'm just doing, what I'm looking at for the start of the week, if I just come to a 4 hour, so what I want to explain is, this is now interactive with the base of this candle. So this is my scenario that I look at. This is now interactive with it. So this could be the new scenario over here now. So what I'm going to look at on a 4 hour is just how price is going to interact around this 73, 72, 800 mark. That's where I believe the market makers may have come, hit their area, and they've now moved from there. So I'm going to see if that may be where they're at, and it's going to interact from there. It does look good the way it's kind of crawling towards the area and it's getting weaker. You can see the bodies are getting smaller as it's getting closer. Same thing with the AUDUSD. I'll just come to the daily. This one, as you can see, has interacted with the area, touched it and dropped. So that could be the market makers. That could be where their new transaction's been placed. If I then come over to the 4 hour, it's the same thing. I'm looking around the 78, 600, 79 mark. I want to see if price is going to interact off this and then continue. And again, it does look good the way it's approaching. So just keep an eye on them areas with, of course, what I've mentioned with the daily picture as well. That's the NZDUSD and AUDUSD. And remember, the fundamentals may fuel them trades. So keep an eye on the time of that as well. NZDUSD, AUDUSD. Okay, guys, had a good trading week last week. So just looking for some more of the same this week. So if you like that, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with the investments that I'm tracking. And again, I'll see you back here for Thursday, where I'll be reviewing what's been said today. Have a great trading week.